Hey everybody. Again, Mr. Schultz here in my own living room here in Osceola, Indiana. And this is Wednesday's lesson on 5 themes of geography. So Mondays are usually going to be language arts, and Wednesdays are going to be more focused on social studies. I'm actually filming this Tuesday night because I have a meeting tomorrow, and I want to make sure you guys have this. So sorry about all the mix up with the last video. It seemed some of you are downloading it, some of you weren't. So I actually have become a real a master at YouTube now. So I'm going to be able to post those videos on YouTube. And what's going to be neat with it is I'm going to post them in a playlist. So you're going to be able to go back and watch some of those if you forget on some things. So since I don't want to keep you guys too long, let's go ahead and get started. We did do this Prezi before, but it was probably October, so it's been a while, and I'm not sure a lot of us remember what the 5 themes of geography are. So let's go ahead and let me share my screen with you guys. All right, here we go. Okay, so 5 themes of geography. And guys, I will tell you this is really important for when you go to 7th grade because this is something that they cover in 7th grade as well. All right, so our first theme is location. Where am I? Where am I located? And that can be broken up into 2 different subtopics. Absolute location, okay? So that has to do with longitude and latitude. Remember, longitude and latitude are those lines, imaginary lines that are on our Earth that kind of give an absolute location, okay? So latitude, remember, latitude are those lines that go sideways, okay? Latitude, ladder, you climb upstairs on a ladder. Longitude are the ones that go long ways, okay? And we will do a lesson on longitude, latitude next week, so I don't want to get too much into that, but we will talk more about those next week. So absolute location is the actual location of the place you're talking about, and it will have a latitude and longitude measure. Okay, so like this example, 30 degrees south and 30 degrees east. Relative location. Where is West Virginia? Okay, provides an approximate location on Earth based on its relationship to other places. So I would say, me living in Osceola, probably half of you have no idea where that is. But if I would say I live near Notre Dame, that kind of gives you an idea. So I would use that a lot when I was down in college. When people would ask, "Oh, where are you from?" I would say Granger, and they'd look at me and say, "Oh, I'm not sure where that is." And I'd say, "Oh, it's right by Notre Dame." Oh, okay. So relative location, it gives an approximate location of where you're at. All right, moving on to our second theme is region. Okay, so this is dividing the world into smaller parts based on characteristics. Those characteristics could be culture, they could be weather, there could be a lot of different, agriculture could be another one. There's a lot of different things that they can be split up into. So if you look at us, we're in the Great Lakes region, okay? Because a lot of us, Michigan, Indiana, Ohio, Illinois, um, we all tend to share the pretty much similar weather. Also have a lot of corn and different things like that. So the regions are split up into smaller parts so that they can be focused on for their characteristics. All right, moving on to our third theme, which is place, and that describes the human and physical characteristics of a location. And that's important to know the human and physical characteristics because those are important when it comes to a certain place. So let's talk about the physical characteristics. What are they talking about? They could be talking about weather. What type of weather do they have there? Is it sunny all the time and warm? Is there a lot of rain? Is it Do they have all 4 seasons? Do they only have 2 seasons? Do they only have 1 season where it's hot all the time? These are the kinds of things that they are talking about with weather. Plants, what kind of plants grow there? Remember, we talked about this at the beginning of the year. There are some areas that can't grow certain plants. So it's important to know when you're in a certain place what kind of plants can grow there. And if you're planning on traveling or if your family would move to a new location, it's important to know what kind of plants can grow there so you don't plant something and then it doesn't grow. And then obviously animals. What kind of animals live there? All over the world, there's different animals. There's some people who have never seen a deer before, let's say. You know, there's some people who have never seen a kangaroo, using that as an example. Now, we've seen them in zoos, but they're not running around in our woods. So these are just examples of some of the physical characteristics. Now let's talk about the human characteristics. And again, if I'm going kind of fast, this is review. And if you're taking notes, remember, pause the video and go ahead and write down your notes if you need to, okay? So language and culture. Language and culture is important for those characteristics. Art, okay? Different art is important and sometimes shows the kind of culture that somewhere has. And then obviously their traits, you know. Some people dress differently than us. And we may say and sit there and so that's different. Well, that's their culture. That's how they're raised and they're used to those kinds of things. So it's good to know if you're planning on traveling, and I remember talking about this in class. If you're planning on traveling to somewhere, it's good that you know their language and culture because some things that we find to be proper, they find offensive. You know, we talked about some cultures find it very rude to stare someone in the eye. Some find it rude to shake hands. Some kiss you on the cheek. You know, there's different types of cultures that you need to know, and that's part of this theme is knowing those human characteristics. All right, movement. So movement is the movement of people, goods, ideas from one place to another. So I'm just going to show a quick little video. And it's real quick. Just showing the types of things that people do to move their goods across the world. So as you can see, that takes a long time, but a lot of that stuff is important to get to countries that maybe don't have it. It could be water, it could be food. Um, Something right now, speaking of movement, in New York, they just had a hospital ship. And we've never really seen anything like that before, but that's an example of movement. Obviously, there's different kinds of movement as well. Could be talking about phone, communication. How do people communicate? Do they use phones? Do they communicate by letter? Are there different ways of communicating using the internet? Obviously, train. Obviously, not as um, popular, I guess, for travel, but it is really important to get things across the country because it can get there faster. And then obviously showing the way people go. Where do they travel to? And you know, movement's a little slow right now because of everything going on. So it's interesting to see the patterns of travel right now. All right, human environment interaction. So this is how humans have an effect on the environment. So we as humans have changed the way that the world is. We change. You know, I was just in Elkhart and a waterfall that's there. They're taking that out. They're changing it. You know, that's our human environment interaction. We're changing things that way. Could it be good? Sometimes, but sometimes it can't be good. Some theory with the global warming and the theory behind that is with all the gases and things that we've done, we're actually creating, shortening the life of our Earth. Okay, and they're saying that storms are increasing because of this. They're getting worse. There's tornadoes where they may not, maybe tornadoes shouldn't be, or they're happening earlier on than they should. Weather is getting warmer. You know, we didn't really have too bad of a winter this year. Some say that's due to global warming. Okay, so now I'm just going to show you again a quick little video of somewhere turning an ocean area into a resort, and this is pretty wild. So my point to that is that that was a man-made island. Now, it's great for that country. They're probably making a lot of money from that. But what are the after effects of that? You know, wildlife is now having to move, losing air, we're losing water space. Just a lot of things that could happen from all that change. So there's things like that. You know, some parents may remember where the mall is. That used to be all cornfields and fields. Well, now you wouldn't even be able to tell that where those animals go. That is part of the human environment interaction. What are we doing to the environment that's changing? Okay, again, showing this. You know, there's wildlife that may have lived on this island. Where are they at now? And this is kind of an up picture of what we just looked at with the man-made islands. All right, so to kind of wrap this up, in order to help you remember the 5 themes, Mr. Lip, I think some of you might remember this from when we talked about it. So movement, region, and again, I'll kind of just do a recap. Movement, meaning how people travel, could be how they communicate through travel, different ways they move goods. Region, remember, places are grouped in the smaller areas based on their characteristics. Could be agriculture, could be culture, could be weather, could be a lot of things. Location, okay, location is where somewhere is, and there's 2 sub locations, absolute and relative. Okay, absolute meaning the actual coordinates using longitude and latitude, and then relative is a general base where it's located. Human interaction, just talked about that, how the human and environment interact with each other, and if it's a good positive thing or a negative. And then place. Place talking about human and physical characteristics, the plant life, the culture that's there, how their way of living. Okay, so that is just a quick little review of the 5 themes of geography. Again, it's real important. Please, if you're taking notes, go back, pause it. You know, you can rewatch this video several times. That's why I'm kind of putting this in YouTube, so you have a reminder. You'll be able to, I'll never delete you from my Google Classroom. So let's say that you're doing 5 themes next year and you're like, oh, I can't remember some things. You can go back and watch this on the YouTube page. Okay. Now, of course, you're going to have an assignment with this, and it will be posted in Google Classroom with the video. It is going to be the 5 themes assignment. Pretty simple. It will be in ClassWorks. It will be for a grade. So just kind of go over the directions. You're going to pick a country around the world. It must be different from the one that you picked for your project. Now, you remember we did a project on this where you had to pick a country and you did the 5 themes based on that. Well, you're pretty much doing that, except I'm not making it as detailed as I did with the project. So those of you who are watching this video, I'm going to give you a pretty big tip of how to find the answers, because if you don't, you're probably going to be confused. But you're going to write the country name. I want to know why. Why did you pick that country? Is it because you randomly picked it on the map? Okay, that's fine. Or is there some sort of connection there that you wanted to pick it? For location, I want you to do absolute and relative location. Again, absolute, the actual coordinates using longitude and latitude. And then relative, just give me a general idea of what it's located by. Region, look up what region it is located in. Again, all of them are based on regions. Place, I want to know the physical and human characteristics. The movement, how do they travel? What are their way of delivering goods to each other? And then how their human environment interaction is. So, like I said, I have some tips for you guys. Here is how you can do it. Well, themes, right? Okay, so for the 5 themes for Germany. If you go and click the 5 for Germany, okay, believe it or not, a lot of information is out here, and they actually already have the answers for you. So you can base it off of this, okay? So this is just a helpful tip to those. So whatever country you're doing, I'll kind of go back and do that again, okay? All you do is the 5 themes of geography 4, and then whatever country you want to do, okay? So that is the assignment. I also want to clear up some things. There's a rumor going around that school is closed for the rest of the year. Now, is that a possibility? Yes, it is. It is possible that we are not going to go back to school for the rest of the year. However, that has not been announced yet. So that article may have some truth to it, but it's not quite true. Now, by the time you watch this video, there may be something different because everything keeps changing. But I'll tell you this, that, you know, I hope to go back, but obviously we want to be safe to you, your family, to my family, everybody. So we'll kind of adjust and we'll keep doing these lessons. Friday, don't forget, we have a team meeting. We had a total of kids going in and out. We had 30 students. We had 30 of you out of, let's see, 52. We have 52 students, so 30 out of 52 is pretty good. I would really love to get that up to 40, and then maybe one day we'll have all be in there, which would be great. On Friday, you're going to have a lesson as well. I think you're going to enjoy Friday's lessons. I'm not going to spoil the surprise, but it will be something that you can enjoy. Hopefully this helps. And like I said, next week we will take a look at longitude and latitude in a little more depth. And then we'll go from there with the social studies part of it. I hope you guys have a great day, and I will see you guys at the Friday meeting. Thanks.